Firing. He's going for Landry down by the end zone. A tumbling catch for a touchdown. Jump. He's to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown. Is this how it feels to win?
Welcome back, Survivors, episode 41, season 4. This is Surviving the Season. I am your host, Adam Hare. Greg Hare is here.
Yo! What is up?
I am back. We're in Pasig, Philippines this time. A new spot, so we'll see how the connection holds up. So far, so good. Thank you for doing the last show by yourself. And honestly, I have to give you props. It was very well done.
Yep. I was thinking, I was like, if we start making money, how can I cut how can I cut any losses out and just completely drop you from the show? Nah, thanks. Back was up against the wall. Had to do one on by myself, and yeah, it worked out okay. So might get some more of those, people. So I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, this Sunday, as a matter of fact, might be a tough one for me, but we'll see how it goes as we sort of move around through the winter, and I think nobody would blame me in Cleveland that I will be back in the fucking spring. Okay, fuck the winter. It's 90 degrees here.
It's 90? Seriously?
Yeah, it's hot.
It sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's way too hot.
Does they have air conditioning where you're at?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So in the springtime, we'll likely be in the same room, but for now, there will be some scheduling occurrences. Thank you, everybody, for hanging in there. Apparently, the patrons don't mind. Tim Gellern, new to the executive producers.
Timmy. What is up?
Timmy.
You have to compliment
pretty
him.
Awesome.
I hope your firstborn son is a manly son. Wait, what is the dude in the? I hope you know what I'm talking about. What is the Godfather one? I hope your first son is a masculine son. There you go. That's the nicest thing. I always thought that was the best compliment you could pay to somebody.
That is a pretty good compliment.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim. Welcome to the patrons. Thank you again to all the patrons. Patreon.com/STS podcasts, which Greg did not know in the last episode.
No, hey, that's the secret, right? You find it. You want to donate? you figure it out. All right. I'd like to donate money. Good luck.
Good. Yeah. Good luck.
I would like to support you guys
or whatever. Yeah.
I realize you guys do this for, basically free. I'd like to support the show. All right, it's on you now.
Yeah, so it is Dolphins week. Browns 4-6 playing the 2-8 Dolphins.
Everybody just turned off turned off the pod. Dolphins week. I can take this one off. I got to do yard work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right after the Pittsburgh game, you guys need film review. I think they've seen everything that needs to be seen on film from the Pittsburgh game, Miami preview. I'm not sure how much you guys want to get into that, but we're going to do it because
the people want it.
We are surviving the season.
Dude, it's you got to think though, like this is the chance for the offense to, like when you need confidence, right? You need a confidence builder. You need something to get that offense going. Miami Dolphins. That's the recipe, right? Put the Dolphins. They're on there. This is a chance for us to actually fill up the stats a little bit. You know how you got to, like up to this point, Baker's kind of stat-wise not looking good. OBJ not looking that good. Landry probably better than what he expected, even though he's right there with OBJ, right? Better than what we're expecting, like 1,000 yards or so. But this is the opportunity to get a 4-touchdown game by Baker or a 3-touchdown game by Chubb or something of that nature, where you're running for 150 yards, you get 300 yards passing, get the stats up, and then everybody goes, "I think the offense has finally got it together." You know, and you know that's going to happen. It's 3 in a row now. The Browns are really finding their you know, and it's like, come on, man. Like we're playing scrubs. So if we expected it to get better, and as it should against the Miami Dolphins this week. Should be fun to watch, though. Come on.
Well, I don't know. Are you looking forward to watching this defensive line? Vernon is out, correct, this weekend?
Vernon, well, I don't know what is. I haven't even looked at the injury report. Do you have that up? Actually, right here it is. I will tell you. So we got OBJ. He's limited. Bitonio is limited. Lamb, FP. What is FP? Full practice. So Lamb's back, huh? Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Jarvis Landry, limited. Eric Murray did not practice Wednesday. Olivier Vernon did not practice Wednesday. So those two definitely. They asked Freddie about Eric Murray, and they said, well, it's kind of the same. They're not expecting him back. I would assume the same thing for Olivier Vernon. So, yeah, when you go and look at the defensive line now, you're talking about Chris Smith, Chad Thomas.
That's exciting.
Yeah, inside, Ogunjobi's suspended, so you're talking about Sheldon Richardson and Devereaux Lawrence. Yeah, Devereaux Lawrence, and who is even – I don't even know who's after that.
I do know.
Okay.
Let me bring up the roster. Yep.
Anko? That's how.
Anko, yeah.
And he is taking. Now, he took the place of, what's his name that went on to the injured reserve?
Ekwale.
Yes, Daniel Ekwale.
Yeah.
Ekwale. And then also Brian Cox Jr.
Out of Florida. Yeah, 25 years old, 6'3", 270, undrafted free agent in 2017 to the Carolina Panthers.
I mean, I'd take Brian Cox at this point, so I guess we'll give Junior a shot this week. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, interesting. With no Garrett, no Ogunjobi. A guy I like, JT Hassel, was called up from the practice squad. He will be on the 53-man roster this week. I don't know if they've made another corresponding move.
That's the
I think
last
right
move.
now we should have a open roster spot.
I feel like we should have 2 open roster spots because
Njoku off of IR as well, but I don't believe he can play this week. I think you have to practice 1 week off of designation. So let's see how that goes.
That's interesting because Freddie acted like there was a chance that he could if he was ready.
Okay,
so
I might be completely
wrong.
wrong.
You get 8 weeks until you get back, right? And then it's 2 weeks.
Yep.
2 weeks after.
But I don't remember when
he got hurt second game of the year, right? Or was it the third?
Against the
Jets.
Against the Jets. We're doing a lot of speculating here. Let's assume Njoku is not available for this weekend.
I think he is, though. So I'm assuming he is. I think you're wrong.
All right.
So second game of the year was the Jets. We are talking right now. We are on week 12. So that would have been 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He should be available, right?
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
But they acted like, well, we don't know what kind of shape or anything. If anything, I think it's unlikely that he will play. However, I think he is actually available.
Okay. Well, if he's available, he's playing because our tight ends are pretty much not great.
We're playing the Dolphins. And you were bringing up the defensive line. I mean, wait until I get to this offensive line. You can't even – when you look – what's so funny about this Dolphins team is like when you get on – you look at like the offensive grades for the year. Like there's 900 players that's played for them. Like they're just cycling guys in and out at this point. It is the 2016 Cleveland Browns. You know, where it completely gutted the roster. You're going to try to find any diamond in the rough possible. They're just going through guards, tackles. It doesn't matter. What position do you play? All right, let's throw them out there, see how it goes. Went terribly? Okay, sit back over there. You're out of the league, basically. If you can't make it on our team, you're not making it. And the same thing for the defense. It's just guy after guy after guy that they're throwing in there, trying to give an opportunity to. And that's what you do when you're basically tanking. You know, they don't care about winning necessarily. They're trying to find long-term solutions to problems, and so they're just going to rotate guys in and out and see if they can find that, like I said, diamond in the rough.
Yeah. Mark Walton, the running back. He was cut recently over some allegations.
Yep, and so they'll be going. I mean, are we getting into the preview here? Because I feel like we had other things to cover first. But
let's do the other things first. Go to the next thing you had on the list before the preview.
J.C. Treader contract.
Oh, J.C. Treader, yeah, extension, well earned. We don't know the specifics. Somewhere around $30 million for 3 years, $20 million guaranteed.
Which seems pretty team friendly to me. You're giving him $10 million a year. Isn't that what he was making up to this point? Yeah, it was right around there. So it seems like
4.5 or this year. So they raised him up for this year. Yeah.
Now, what was his original?
It was 15 for 3.
Oh, okay. So wow, they get okay. That's like double. I thought he was making almost $8 to $10 million a year. So that seems okay. So they definitely bumped him up pretty good. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
And then Joe Schobert also in talks with the team. Not surprised about that. I don't see why you wouldn't try to sign Schobert to a contract now. You don't want to break the bank here because once again we're going to start getting ourselves into some money problems. If we pay every single player, but Joe Schobert deserves it. Last week, phenomenal game, maybe his best game of his career.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, it was one of those stat stuffers. He's a guy that you should right now. What else are you going to do at linebacker? It looks like Mac Wilson's coming on. Like I said, I've given him props here over the past couple of weeks where he started off a little slow, and then Sione Takitaki been pretty good in the position that they've put him. Now you haven't seen him in the kind of role of what you're going to see Joe Schobert. You're not seeing Taki running coverage with a running back or a drop, taking the deep drops into the seam and whatnot. That's what Taki would have to show. I don't know how you could, at this point, just let go Schobert and go, we're going to rely on these two guys that we haven't really seen enough of, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Schobert, what? I would almost give him the same deal. Here's $30 million, 3 years, and we'll guarantee 20 of it.
Question is, does Schobert take that? Because $10 million a year, like if you look at the guys that got paid last year, they're getting 15, 16 million.
Oh, God damn it.
Yeah, so that's where you're out of it. Yeah, you're not in the market.
Now he wants 45 over 3. And he wants 30 of it guaranteed. Yeah, we can probably do it. We probably should do it. We'll at this point,
we'll have to do
pretty sure. Yeah, we need to do a roster breakdown. But you're probably not paying Randall at this point. I don't know. I mean, that might free up some space. But you're going to have to do something at the safety position. But right now you got 2 corners that are young, that seem capable. I mean, I know Greedy hasn't been perfect. Teams are going after him. That's fine. If the teams are going after one guy all the time, then the other side's locked down. You can manage that.
Are you talking about this past game? It seemed like that.
Greedy's been kind of roughed up for the last 2, right? 2 or 3 since he's been back. Hasn't been great.
Yeah, but I feel like he's been a lot better than what they were throwing out there before, as he should. But teams
are definitely going after Greedy.
Yeah, I feel like this last game though, they if you go back once you're watching the film of it, which we should say, the problem with you being out of the country is you can't you have no Game Pass right now. So I know there's people out of the country that have Game Pass, so you might have to get a different Game Pass, but as of right now, yeah, you're not able to rewatch these things, unfortunately. Maybe somebody can tell you how to do that. Somebody might have a better idea. But what was I saying? Oh, so like in this last game, we left a lot of opportunities for Pittsburgh to throw deep. They were really getting after Mason Rudolph, and if you go back and see that, like there was way more corner blitzes than I think I've ever seen before. And there's a lot of times where Greedy and or Denzel are getting single coverage. And that was, where Mason Rudolph had the opportunity to throw. And, he got called for one? Was it just 1 pass interference or 2? I feel like there was 2 that were on Greedy. And Denzel,
I don't know how many he got called for, Denzel, but it seemed like he should have been called for about 4 of them.
I mean, I didn't think he was that bad. I don't think he was great by any means. But as a rookie, I think he's been playing decent. I'm not really
my whole
worried.
point. My whole point of the thing was about the money. Is you have two decent outside corners with Greedy and Ward. Even though Greedy hasn't been spectacular or Ward hasn't been available, they're going to have to free up some money to pay a safety if they want to bring someone in, or they have to draft somebody. So that was my whole point. I wasn't making any.
Right, you're going to lose TJ Carey's contract most likely. It was $9 million this year. I don't know what it goes next year, but we'll get it. We need to really do a roster breakdown because I have a lot of feelings about where this roster could go, and I almost feel like John Dorsey could seriously do what he did last year and change 30 players out. I would be fine with it. I could find 30 players on this team that you could just outright. Not even that you have to. That's you don't have to change these guys, but I'm saying there's 30 guys that you could change, and you wouldn't even know the difference.
Yeah, TJ Carey, $1.8 million, dead cap next year, nothing guaranteed. So you're really walking away from a cap number at this point. Mitchell, he's barely seeing the field, so you can walk away from that if you want.
Why would you walk away from that though? For a guy that would?
What's dead cap? That's dead cap.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
$2.5 million to play.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as a back, I mean, he's primarily a backup, but he's a solid backup.
Well, he's not even seeing the field.
Well, who would? But we know one thing about these cornerbacks. I mean, both of them got injured for numerous games, so he's not seeing the field right now. But if somebody gets injured, but yeah, for $2.5 million, I don't know if you want to use that for depth. But again, this is why we really need to do a roster breakdown, full breakdown of this thing, because you definitely can't go. You gotta. I feel like this day and age, you have to have at least 4 cornerbacks that you feel very confident about, and I think they have right now 4 cornerbacks that are good enough to throw out there. Now, TJ Carey at $9 million makes 0 sense to me, right? Like you could have replaced him with somebody that makes $2 million or 1.5 or something like that, and got just as much, right? So. I feel like you could have did that with him. Also, you have the other, what's his name, that's kind of banged up right now, Eric Murray. So he is a slot guy who really took over for TJ Carey. When Murray was healthy, he was getting the snaps over Carey. So
yeah, well, Eric Murray's unrestricted at the end of this year,
right?
So.
And then same thing with Mitchell. It's like if you have to rely on Mitchell, I think you're okay. So they have 4 cornerbacks, but 2 of them could be a little bit too expensive. I don't know, man. There might be more holes than what we think on this team. Because really, you just take the entire offensive line outside of the 2 guys. So, and I'm talking about backups and everything. I'm talking about you have 2 offensive linemen. What are you typically going to run? Like 8? You probably need 6.
Agreed.
That's how
I like. And that's Treader, not true. Like, I like Bitonio. Yeah,
I like Forbes.
Everyone else could be replaced.
Forbes, I want to give an opportunity to, and I'm fine if they were to keep one of these other guys like Wyatt Teller as a. I would like them to go out and replace him, but you might have some depth there.
No, I agree.
Tackles are trash right now.
It's tough. The roster's not great. They're 4-6 for a reason.
Yes, Freddie Kitchens, right? Is that what you're saying? We talked about JT Hassel. We talked about David Njoku. Myles Garrett had his meeting yesterday in New York to try to reduce his suspension. Ogunjobi also was there, did not get reduced. What do you think with Myles? Any chance of this thing? I guess they're going to rule today, so by the time we have this out, there will be a ruling. What are you expecting?
I think 4 games would have been fair.
Yeah.
No, I don't see it getting reduced. Yeah. The NFL doesn't reduce anyone's sentences.
No, it's we have an authoritarian leader, right? It's basically what it is. It's like Kim Jong-un is basically running.
All hail.
Dear leader. Yeah, I guess I would like to see 4, but I don't think there's any chance. I bet you they stick with it. Maybe they'll reduce it to 6 and say, well, no more indefinite.
Yeah, the indefinite thing probably is what the union was upset about, and fair enough, because if this wasn't a Thursday night game, I don't know if the outrage would have been there like it was. It was just...
Nope, nationally televised. We know, I mean, we've seen that before. What happens? Like, people have been have gotten in trouble for different, domestic violence or something of that nature. And it's like, okay, well, here's your suspension. Oh, there's a video? Times that by 100, right?
Yeah.
Like if it comes out on
for sure.
video, if anything is out on video, now all of a sudden you're in more trouble. Well, this is nationally. This is not just a game that's at 1 o'clock. Only some, part of the country's watching. No, everybody's watching it. So now it's times 100. So now everybody's going to comment on it. Oh, I saw it. I was watching the game last night. I was horrified. I was scared. I went and hugged my children that Miles could come attack us at home. It turns into this giant thing. But in this case, it's Miles and being on that extra stage of what do you make of the apology by everybody? I mean, but Mason Rudolph comes out and apologizes yesterday after the fact. I feel like Browns fans force that apology.
Yeah, I'm probably just from bitching about it. Yeah. I literally, it doesn't matter to me if Mason Rudolph misses one game or misses 100 games. There's no consequence to me. So I don't care one way or the other. He started the fight. Miles ended it. We got the short end of the stick, and we're Browns fans, and we got fucked again. So that's how life works.
Yeah, but I feel like people just want justice, and if you're going to go indefinite to Miles, there has to be some sort of this is what people get upset about, right? People want justice, right? People want justice. I don't need Miles, or I don't need Mason Rudolph to get a suspension, so to speak. I need just Miles' suspension to be taken into context that Mason Rudolph was the aggressor in the fight up until the point where he was no longer the aggressor, right? So that just needs to be taken into account for Miles. If you slap Miles with an indefinite and then you don't do anything to the guy who started, now that's where people get upset about it. But the whole apologies, I don't even. I'm so sick. Does anybody really care about why does everybody have to apologize for everything? Nobody cares. It happened. I don't need Miles to say sorry. We don't need the Browns apologizing to Mason Rudolph or the Steelers apologizing to the NFL and Mason Rudolph coming out 5 days later. Keep your apologies. Not one person goes, well, now I feel better. Now that Mason said that, I can go on with my life, because if he did not, I was going to track his ass down and get that goddamn apology out of him. I could no longer live with my life. Nobody cares. Right? So quit apologizing for everything. I'm so sick of it. It's so fake and contrived anyways. The best is 5 days
after the fact.
I would like to read a statement. Yeah. Oh, that's like Miles should call Mason personally, right? Personally, and apologize, because saying it's like, I'm not on Facebook, but my wife for every birthday goes on Facebook and says happy birthday to me and says writes a nice thing, and I always go, people tell me that you wrote that to me, but you never say that to me in real life. And I'm not on there. It almost seems very unsincere since I'm not on Facebook and you're saying nice things about me. Same thing, right? Nobody cares. I don't need you to apologize for what you did to somebody else. It doesn't affect my life.
You two can handle that between yourselves. You're fucking adults.
Yeah, my bad.
Let's move on.
Moving on. All right.
You got to do this in the media. You got to do it live. That's what the NFL's indefinite suspension. 15 minutes after it happened, they had to release a finding or whatever. Yeah. They had to say something because everyone was up in arms.
And then the teams got fined for the teams had something to do with it. Right. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. And then last thing, I think I didn't hear this, but I think Pete had said it on Twitter that Mike Lombardi said the Browns should lose a first-round draft pick for such a thing. What? I mean, just imagine somebody you should lose a first round draft pick because a guy loses his temper. Imagine that. It's crazy. All right, let's get in. How about we move on to film review?
Film review. Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I know you don't have film. This would be a one-man film review today.
Well, I watched the game and I took notes, so.
Yeah, and we didn't get to hear the notes, actually, so that does make sense. So if there's anything that you want to talk about that I missed, which is probably a lot, because usually you have a lot to say after the game, feel free to chime in. The first one, I want to talk about the long pass to Odell. Play action. This has been. How much have you noticed this year, Adam? We go to play action, and it's like the worst looking. We're not making it look like we're handing the ball off. It's very like, let's kind of act like we're going to do a play action, but not go through the full motions of it. You see that all game long. I feel like Baker's got to sell that more. And if, again, this is like a detail thing, right? Isn't this what your coach would say? Hey, sell it. You got to sell it. And if we keep seeing it over and over of them not selling the play fake, I don't think it's getting brought up.
Yeah.
But they got single high safety. You see Ricky Seals-Jones is running through the middle of the field, and that safety gets pulled onto Seals-Jones, which leaves Beckham wide open on the post route. And so beautifully thrown ball. I know Baker gets a lot of hate. Well, not a lot of hate, but people have been really down on him. But I thought he made a couple throws in this past game that were kind of went under the radar that people didn't really talk about. I thought this was one of those fantastic throws.
Yeah, he's been much better the last couple games. So
yeah, against lesser defenses,
maybe
it's really crazy.
Starting to round out.
It's crazy that when you play lesser opponent, you look better. It's really crazy. 3rd down and 12 on the next series was the check down to Kareem Hunt. I don't know why I didn't bring this up because this was such an impressive run. You remember 3rd down and 12 and Kareem breaks like 3 tackles and drags a dude barely. It doesn't even look like he has the first down on the telecast, but they ended up they didn't even measure it. They just gave him the first down. I thought that was
they're like, you ran so hard, fuck it, you get it.
Yeah, good enough play, right? It's close enough.
Kareem Hunt's such a upgrade to the backfield.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, a couple plays later, this is right before they punted, is it the play before they punt. 3-man rush. Getting a good push and forcing Baker to get out of the pocket. How many times have we seen that this year? It's the kind of
too
thing.
Many.
6 guys blocking, 3-man rush, and you're getting to the quarterback. Forces Baker out of the pocket. He throws high over the head of Hodge and punt. I mean, it's just these kind of things, man. 3-man rush, you have to be able to have extra time. They go, what? Baker's holding on to the ball. Yeah, because there's 8 guys in coverage. You guys realize that. Everybody understands that, right? The less people that are rushing the quarterback means the more people and less space there's going to be for your guys to go and get open. That's a problem. If you can't protect when they're only rushing 3 guys, chances are you're not going to complete it. You have to have more time in those situations. Let's move to the next Hodge throw, which was, to me, this is another throw. Absolute dime on the long pass to Hodge. Like, beautifully thrown ball. I mean, you can't put it on him any better. And then it's just a couple plays later, a perfect seam pass, right? And that one, I think, was DeLandry.
Yeah.
So right there, 3 passes that it's under the radar type stuff where we just sort of assume like, oh, well, this is a NFL quarterback, and no, that's not. You don't get that from every single NFL quarterback. Like, these are balls that are being thrown so perfectly. Like, to me, like, Baker has struggled. And actually, we had somebody write in one of the reviews that were saying, hey, you guys probably giving Baker a little bit too much credit. And I think that's fair because we don't hate on Baker, right? I don't hate on anybody really that I think is valuable for the team. Like, OBJ could be having a better year, right? I'm not going to sit there and shit on OBJ. OBJ is not a problem for the team, right? Baker is not a problem. Jarvis Landry is not a problem. Bitonio or Treader, like, I'm not going to sit there and rag. I mean, there's plays where Treader or Bitonio misses blocks, and I'll mention those, and I'll say, hey, Baker needs to make a better throw here, but I'm not going to put the offensive struggles on Baker. This is not Baker's issue. Could Baker be better? Sure. So I'll give you, it's fair criticism to say, hey, you guys aren't criticizing Baker as much as I think. That is your opinion, and I think that's a fair criticism of us. But the reason for that is because I'm saying, like, Baker's not the issue. Like, if you go from Baker to another quarterback on his level, you're not going to be getting better play. You're just not. He's still playing like a second-year guy. He can improve, but he's a top-tier second-year guy, right?
Yeah, I also think we've called out Baker pretty fairly this year. I mean, for how excited we were, pro Baker fans, we've been critical of him through this, 4-6 stretch. He hasn't been great this year, and he's needed to be great in a couple games that we lost that we could have won if he was better.
Yeah. I mean, there was games where Baker wasn't good last year, but I still have I have 100% confidence in Baker as a quarterback of this team. I'm not worried about Baker. I'm not worried about Odell Beckham. I'm not worried about like I said, these are the guys I am not worried about. Yeah. Like, there is clear issues that are causing other guys to not be as good. All right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it starts with Freddie first, because your quarterback, if you know that your quarterback isn't Tom Brady or Drew Brees yet, which I'm not saying, like, I think Baker can eventually get to this where the level of a Drew Brees, but it's year 2, right? We got to give him time to really learn these defenses like the back of his hand, know exactly what teams are going to do, how they're going to counter him, and he's seeing that. This year he's seeing the counter of what they saw of Baker on film from last year, right? And he's having to deal with that, and he's trying to learn it, and it's taking a little bit of time. But also, again, I can't stress this enough, Freddie is not exactly running the most quarterback-friendly offense. Now, there's things that he does with the screens and that sort of thing that really helps him out. But knowing that your line is as shitty as it is, you really have to run way more play action in my case, in my opinion, and you really have to get Baker out of some pockets, on the move. Like, if Baker likes to go to the right, then let's get the play action going to the left and let Baker roll to the right and get some of those plays where the guys are running across. I mean, how often do we see that? We don't, because we're running our play action out of shotgun, which means Baker's faking it and just throwing the RPO from right there. He's set in place. He is set in place, and then the defensive linemen have a target. They know exactly where Baker's going to be. If you're running a traditional play action from under center, you can manipulate where Baker is going to go in the pocket. You can manipulate the pocket, and that's what I'm trying to get at. And Freddie is not doing that to help out Baker. So,
agreed.
Plenty of things.
I liked a couple of the misdirections they ran against the Steelers. One with the inside handoff to Hunt that was kind of off of motion. I thought that was cool. Mm-hmm. But as long as they keep up with misdirection, I just think in the NFL now, you've got to do so much of that. Defenses are too good in coverage. Offensive linemen are too bad across the league. Like, there's not that many good offensive linemen anymore.
It's really a unit thing, right, with that offensive line. It's like, if you have one guy that is just a complete mess, as a unit, you're just not going to be a good offensive line. You just have to have an average play. You're going to find the weakness, and they're going to exploit it.
Defenses are too good to have a weakness, because they will come after that weakness over and over and over, and you're just not going to be able to cover that up.
Yeah, and we talked about that being the Achilles heel of this offense in the offseason, and we tried to drink the Kool-Aid, and it just has not worked. Up to this point. But there's ways, so that's the thing, but there's ways around that, and that comes to the chess master, who is the coach. I mean, It's not shocking that when you have a offense that's set up, that's like quarterback friendly, that those guys are going to put up big numbers. That's not out of the realm. Like, that's normal. That's why when you go and watch Oklahoma, it really doesn't matter who they insert in there. They have such a good offensive philosophy that they're going to get the most out of whatever that quarterback. Jalen Hurts this year comes from Alabama. He never put up these kind of numbers at Alabama, and then they're going to get the most out. Lincoln Riley's going to get the most out of him, and I just don't think Freddie is getting the most out of Baker. And you saw that more last year. I thought he got more last year from asking Baker to do less.
Fair assessment. Yep.
What else I got down here? O-line, no movement in the run game. I thought very stout defensive front from the Steelers. Weak offensive line performance from the Browns. That probably goes without mentioning, huh? I mentioned in that the Samuels touchdown seemed to be a breakdown in coverage, why he was so wide open. So went back, watched that, and looks to me like 100% on Greedy. Greedy got a little greedy. Hence the name. Tried to really jump an inside route, and the receiver comes from out of the backfield, and Greedy has sort of that side of the field, the flat area, and he started running to the middle. But the thing is, there's like four Browns are like right there, right next to each other. If Greedy has the proper spacing, it might just be a 0-yard gain, and as long as he makes the tackle. So that one goes on Greedy. Thought the Baker did a good job throwing down the seam. The Browns were working the seams, and I think that's the weak part here in that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So 2 weeks from now, take advantage of that seam. You know, the one I mentioned to Jarvis, which was a beautiful throw in the first quarter that was out of empty. 2 times in the 2-minute offense. One, Baker ended up throwing the comeback to Landry, but he had, I don't remember, I think it was Higgins down the seam. If the offensive line gives him the proper amount of time, it could be a touchdown. Like, he's got the guy, but he takes pressure, he has to roll out, and it ends up throwing to Landry on the comeback, and Landry's sort of double teamed, and you can see how pissed off do you remember that play where it's like, dang, he's double teamed, and they still completed the pass? That was in the 2-minute when we were running our 2-minute offense.
Oh, okay.
And then later in that same possession, they go down the seam again, and that's where they called the double pass interference.
Oh,
had you ever seen that up to that point?
No, I have not.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Sort of cop out, I think, by the officials.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
just trying to get out of it.
Yep. And then really that's it. I mean, those are the main ones that I had for the game. Second half we got so conservative, very conservative.
Yeah. It kind of became a boring game. I mean, like the offense really wasn't doing anything. The defense was doing enough just to. I mean, the Steelers' offense was so anemic. So
yeah, and the only way they moved the ball is from us committing a foul. Yeah,
we basically penaltied them down the field a few times.
Yep.
It was kind of a boring Thursday night game for a Browns like Pittsburgh game, and then for us to win. I don't know. I just had like a weird. Well, of course, then you throw in the Miles stuff at the end. I just had weird reactions to the game.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, we beat Pittsburgh to, oh, wow, Miles is going to be suspended for the year.
Yeah.
It was kind of disheartening, that whole win.
Went from, the feeling of a win to, oh, there goes your season. How do you win a game and then realize your rest of your season's probably over because you lost your best defensive player by his own doing? Yeah,
and maybe because we have like an easier schedule, maybe the Browns can fade not having Garrett, but we don't have Vernon either, so that's the other problem. Like if it was Vernon and somebody else maybe, but I just don't know what this defensive line is going to do.
Yeah, it sounds like Vernon,
they haven't been good. So
sounds like Vernon is relatively close, like maybe a week or two away. So that would give some hope.
That would be helpful because Chad Thomas isn't going to do anything on his own. There's so much attention paid to Garrett, and then when you have Garrett and Vernon in there, and Garrett's still taking so much attention, it's going to be real tough for we've seen the backups in there, Garrett, and they'll take them out for the, beginning of drives and stuff. Well, those plays aren't great for the offensive line. They're sort of throwaway plays to get Garrett Vernon some rest. So
and Chad Thomas has played halfway decent. I thought last week he wasn't terrible.
Yeah, he was okay.
Chad Thomas has had way worse games than what the one he had last week. That's all I'm saying.
He put up a stat.
Yeah, there's a couple times where he beat his guy, flat out beat him, and so I mean it wasn't terrible. I am not sitting here saying.
Timestamp it for me. I want to go back and watch
I will.
That. Why don't you bring that
there
up
was a couple. Yeah, there was a couple plays where.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh no, there. I
know he was okay.
Yeah. There was a couple plays where but again, like when there's a huge difference between guy that is out there making, just doing what you're supposed to do as a defensive end, and a guy that's completely changing the game in Myles Garrett, So that's what I'm getting at. All right, that's all I have for that. You want to get into the Miami stuff here a little bit?
Preview, yeah. Browns 4-6 at home against the Miami Dolphins 2-8.
Miami coming alive for this big Browns game. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't believe they have 2 wins.
It's hard.
I don't know how they did that.
Well, Hugh Jackson isn't coaching them. That probably helps.
Yeah. Well, they beat the Jets and the Colts, so
Colts aren't bad.
I don't have a line though.
Oh, last I
Colts
saw it was 11 points. So Browns giving 11.
Okay.
Did you ever think you would see that this century?
Yeah, actually, right about this game. Yeah. From the beginning of the season, I thought we would be about 11-point favorites for this game.
In basically every single metric that you can possibly find, Miami is either 30th to 31st or 32nd in it, right? You're either the worst or third to worst of everything. It comes to, let's see, DVOA, pass 32nd, run 29th. Okay, they're fourth worst. Or that is third worst, I'm sorry. Compared to the Browns. The Browns, 23rd. Right. Browns are moving up. So since what's interesting about the Browns, like now that they're playing a little bit of easier schedule and you go to their DVOA, things are looking a little better. Like they moved from 23 to 15th overall last week. So now you're talking about 13th pass defense. Oh, I'm sorry. This is defensive rankings. I'm so sorry. I have this screwed up. I was looking at the wrong thing. So in defense, now that they have the easier schedule, they obviously you play that good game against the Steelers. You go from 23rd to 15th. They're 13th pass defense and 20th against the run, and then back to Miami, 32nd pass defense, which will be good for Baker, 29th against the run. It doesn't even matter at this point what you do to Miami. Either way, it's going to be really ugly. Offensively, Miami's the 30th ranked team in the league, 28th passing, and the only reason why they're even at 28th is because they pulled Josh Rosen and started playing Fitzpatrick, who brings up their grade a little. Fitzpatrick, if you're really tanking and you want to lose games, you don't play a veteran player like Fitzpatrick because at least he can, right? If the Browns don't go 0-16 if the Browns have Fitzpatrick at quarterback instead of DeShone Kizer, right?
Right.
We win 4 or 5 games.
That's why no one knows what's going on with Miami. They're like trading away players and then also like signing players and benching Rosen.
Who have they really signed though? They haven't really signed. You're just talking about before the season, like why bring in Fitzpatrick maybe to be a mentor or whatever? Because I'm sure the coach is going, look, you got to at least give me a quarterback. Like God forbid we go in with Cody Kessler, DeShone Kizer, and Kevin Hogan.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a worse quarterback room in the history of football? Yeah, just all around, just a straight shit team. I just don't know. I don't think 11 points is even enough here. You get to this offensive line for them. I don't even know who half of these dudes are on their team. It's hilarious. So they're going to be starting. All right, Julian Davenport, Michael Dieter, Daniel Kilgore, Evan Brom. I don't know. Jesse David. Who are these people? This is like the movie Major League.
Yeah.
Like, who are these freaking guys? Kalen Ballage is going to be your starting running back. Yeah, wide receivers, really. Devontae Parker is probably having the best season of his career. I think he's got 40 catches. Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant is sort of a playmaker. Alan Hearns, just for whatever reason, they're signing him to a contract. That might be the one you're talking about. Why are you signing Alan Hearns to a contract? Mike Gesicki, tight end. I don't know. There's nothing here. What are they going to do?
Yeah, no one.
Good luck.
No one really expects them to do anything. Yeah,
and then you get over.
I don't know. That's why I don't know how they're even beating teams at this point.
Well, for one, Indianapolis started Mr. Subway himself.
That's right. Yeah, Hoyer.
Yeah, Brian Hoyer. And that's what you can't do, right? Any team can beat any team if they win the turnover battle by multiple turnovers. So, literally that's the key for the Browns is do not turn the ball over. It's so important. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't commit 15 penalties and don't turn the ball over. And chances are you should win this game. Defensively, Christian Wilkins was a high draft pick. There's just Taco Charlton sitting over there. I think he's the leading sack guy. Raekwon McMillan, Jerome Baker, a couple Ohio State guys. Charles Harris is a rush linebacker in this thing. They traded away the dude to the Steelers. So on the outside, you got Rashad Jones, Bobby McCain back here. There's just nothing to worry about with this team.
I don't know what they're doing. They've got really nothing there.
Preston Williams also on the offense. So he's actually looks to be their best wide receiver, but defensively, there's just not much that they scare you with. He might even be injured.
Oh, he's on the IR. There he is.
Okay, that's what I thought. So he's not even out there anymore. These grades by this team is just so terrible. 36,
yeah, they're bad.
36 players they have played a snap this year for their defense.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that.
Oh, I'm sure the Browns have done it.
That's what I'm saying. It totally looks like what we did back in 2016.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just not much to worry. There's not many playmakers. There's not many guys on defense. You really just have to play Cleveland Browns football here. Just play average. Don't turn the ball over. It's just so important, and we win this one pretty easy. I'll give this score 48-10. Cleveland Browns victory. What do you got?
Damn. I'm going to go with 48-11.
Oh, man. They got 2-point conversion and a field goal, or how'd they do that?
No. 48-11 Miami.
I see what you're doing here. You're going with you're always picking the other team because it worked that 1 week.
It worked 1 week, so I'm just going to roll with that. Miami wins big in Cleveland. Keep on surviving another week.
All right. Anything else? I think we had some emails and all that.
Yeah, we can probably get to the emails. Jacob Bible, one about Miles. Fired up about the press conference. I was fired up about Miles the day after as well. Sort of since settled down on that. Jacob's pretty cool. Yeah, I've had a few with him on email.
Yeah. What's up, Jacob? Good to hear from you.
Josh Price from Brisbane, Pricey, down there in Australia. He was also talking about the fight, talking about who was mic'd up Thursday night. Because I heard Treader mic'd up, but was Treader mic'd up? Because I could hear him calling out the protections early. Well,
it wouldn't
Thursday
be
night.
It wouldn't be mic'd up live, though, right?
Right.
Somebody was mic'd up. I like that. I like the way he's thinking. Because somebody's mic'd up, are we ever going to get to hear the audio
of what happened with Mason?
Yeah.
And yeah, doubtful.
Probably be a lot of bleeps.
Yeah, so a couple.
Bitch. What did Mason Rudolph say? Bitch, you're a bitch. I'm Mason Rudolph. God damn it! A quarterback in the NFL. You can't do this.
Oh fuck! It's so funny from last podcast. Yeah.
No, that's really.
I was laughing.
Said. That's probably really what he said. All right. Reviews.
What's your Twitter?
Oh, no.
We have reviews
I
to go over.
A couple. Okay, we'll do that next. We'll get to your reviews next.
Thank you for the reviews.
Yeah, we'll get to them because actually, now that I think about it, one was from Jermaine Whitehead, so we'll get to that next week.
Oh yeah, the real Jermaine Whitehead. Really
him.
Oh, okay.
That's it. That's all we got.
Yeah, what's our Twitter?
Our Twitter is @STS Podcast, and our email is
season@gmail.com, patreon.com/STS Podcast if you want to support the show. Thank you guys very much for listening, reaching out on social media, email, just sharing the pod helps us a bunch. It's been a lot of fun this year, so we want to really thank you guys for everything. Greg, tell them what we say.
Keep on surviving.